How you feeling? You feeling comfortable?
Oh yeah, this is fantastic.
I do have to.
Okay. Am I good?
I do have to warn you. Mara is a cop, so.
Oh, that's okay. No. I'm from South Dakota, so it's okay.
And they're all policemen from South Dakota. I do remember that. Hi, Mara.
Hey, Chris.
How's it going?
It's still today.
It is still today. We're on round 2. We went and got McDonald's, and I didn't know that they had vegan options at McDonald's, but do you mind telling the listeners the vegan option that they have?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. So if you're vegan, you can get yourself a Coke, maybe even a Diet Coke if you want to.
I mean, that's...
But on the way there, you were about to tell me a story about a bachelor party.
Oh, we'll do that now? Yeah. Oh, okay. Man, where do I start now?
Well, wait, how long of a story is it? Should I introduce these guys first?
Yeah, do that.
Okay. These guys have been selling used drugs for the last 3 years in the greater St. Paul area. They are hands down the most exhilarating and anti-exhilarating couple maybe in the United States of America. Rebecca Wilson and Wegleitner.
It's a lot of syllables.
I said it right for the first time. Wegleitner.
There you go.
Wegleitner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you a fan of Grease Lightning? Have you ever gone that route?
Have I ever gone that route?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of it, but I can't say I've ever, quote unquote, gone that route.
What is that route, Chris?
Explain that route.
Explain that route.
Tight pants, grease back hair, back alley abortions, that type of thing.
No, I don't wear tight pants.
Oh, okay.
All the other stuff.
All this.
Fair game.
No, it's two comedians in the Minneapolis and Twin Cities scene, I guess you could say. But I don't want to talk to you guys just yet. I want to hear Mara's story.
I feel like there's context.
Okay, yeah. So I used to shoot weddings. I guess I still, on occasion, shoot weddings.
This is the Mitch Hedberg. You used to.
Yeah. That's a good point. I do used to.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we were talking about weddings and with the last guest, and you had brought up that you've been in a total of 4 weddings? Or been to a total of 4 weddings?
I'm not a wedding goer. But I've been, so I'm like 50-50 for being in the wedding party. So that's an interesting percentage. Because ironically, for 2 of them, I was the best man.
Hell yeah.
Being the worst man
Hell yeah.
possible, I think. So I had to plan like bachelor parties. And I'm not a normal human being. So like I don't know like what you're supposed to do. I had to have like a co-planner. They were planning like the normal shit that you're supposed to do, like go look at naked people or something. I'm like, I guess we could do that. That's the thing that people do. And then they just put money onto them. Okay. And then so we did that, and that was like the normal part, I guess. And that, which to me was very awkward, and I hated it. But then we went back to this house, and I'm like, well, this is my part of the thing. We're gonna watch midget porn, and then I was hoping we could play Sega Genesis for like 5 hours. And then we did. That's what we did.
That's actually what you did?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's my party.
Oh, God damn.
I planned it. I found out something interesting too. Is you can't find midget on midget porn.
It's hard. It's hard to book. It's really hard to get
Right.
And we're
two individuals
I'm
at the
being
same
insensitive, but at the time, that's the words we were using.
Right. That's like. Did you go to the problematic word wrestling match that was in Becker?
No, I didn't go to that. Is that how I was booked? Sunday.
It was the
Problematic wrestling.
Yeah. It was the most amazing wrestling I've ever seen.
That's wrestling, though. It's always doing something problematic. That's how they get the views.
That's true. So, anyways, a bunch of problematic people were at this wrestling thing, and for the most part, it was like hacky type of little people jokes, right? Like for most of the stuff, like a normal sized person holding the head and the little guys swinging, and it was okay. But then the finale, like the final match, was between a medium-sized person and a little person, and the little person had enormous arms, like Popeye the Sailor Man, fucking huge arms, and it was awesome. So at one point, the normie throws the little person into the corner, and he hits the thing right, and is it's supposed to be stunned. And then he throws his giant arms up, grabs the top rope as the guy's coming towards him, kicks him in the chest, and then does a backflip up onto the top rope and then front flips off onto this guy. I had my camera and was recording, and the scream went from oh, and then when he did the backflip, it was like a deafening roar. I get goosebumps just thinking about it because it's so fucking crazy.
It sounds like when Yoda fought Dooku.
It's exactly what it was like.
You know what that backflip is called?
What's that?
It's called skinning the cat.
Wow. That's really so. If you guys don't know, Mara is a licensed professional wrestler.
I'm a trained pro wrestler. Yeah,
And a cop.
And a cop.
You're not
I mean,
supposed
they
to
go
know
hand
that.
in hand.
It's funny you say that. My friend is a wrestler, and his gimmick is he's a cop.
Oh, that's funny.
Rob Justice.
Does he handcuff people?
Yeah,
Rob Justice.
Rob Justice.
That is such a good name.
It's actually a name of another friend of ours.
An actual name?
Yeah, that's his actual name.
Oh my god. So, anyways,
Anyway, midget porn is
Problematic
yeah.
porn.
Excuse me.
no, it's beat. It's beat. So you have a standard size human and then a little person.
Yeah.
It's always a variation there.
Right.
I have to bring up the movie we watched was called Midget in a Suitcase. It's awful. It's very apt, the description. The title of the film is they literally pass around a human being in a suitcase to each different scene. And she like springs out of it and then just immediately starts having sex with whoever is in the room.
Wow.
At one point, they drop the suitcase down so many stairs. That's like a bit in the movie. It's like they're going to a subway and they just drop it down.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that was the bachelor party.
My bachelor party, somebody bought a little person blow up doll and brought two pornos. One of them was called All Pissed Off, and the other one was
Like is it the original or like the reboot?
This is the original.
Oh, okay. So it's not even HD.
Right. No, not HD.
That one sucks.
Yeah. So anyways, so each scene, it's just women pissing on each other,
Sure.
which was awful. Like we watched
Kink
it
shame.
for a little bit, fast forwarded. We're like, it's the same thing.
How
Did you
much
think-
better is that in fast forward?
That's
Did you
funny.
rewind and fast forward? Rewind and fast forward.
To watch it go back up?
Instant replay.
Missed opportunity. Yeah, there was a way to enjoy this movie.
Oh, fuck.
and you missed it.
Think outside the box, Greg.
God, that's really good. I wish I could remember. The other one was like German something, but that one wasn't good either. And that one, it was just because they all looked like, Men in Black, the two aliens.
There's a few aliens.
But they're in like those exoskeletons.
You remember that Dalmatian from the Dalmatian movie? The one with the spots?
The fifth one.
But they're sitting in that coffee shop, and that one cockroach like shanks him or stabs them both, and then they're dying. The cat owner.
I thought it was just the one person that was piloting a human robot.
The guy who drinks sugar water.
No, so
that's the roach.
Yeah.
That's the roach.
Okay.
And then the cat owner.
Yeah, when you flick the thing behind their ear.
Yeah, it's got the
face
little
comes up.
alien. Inside.
The other
Yeah.
guy was 2, wasn't he?
I don't remember that.
Well,
I just
anyways,
sorry.
So not the tiny little guy that owned the cat, but the one that he was talking to. That like long, like skinny, too many sharp points on their face.
Will Smith?
Yeah. But anyways, they all looked like that, like basically like mortuary workers, and I was like, not watching this.
You didn't watch Men in Black?
You're wearing all black.
It's a good film.
Well, except for my socks.
That was before you could
'cause
get
I'm
jiggy
American.
with it. But.
Speaking of being American, how are you guys dealing with all of the voting going on?
Are we dealing with the voting?
There was a vote recently.
There was a vote the other day. It's crazy. I mean, my home state is Georgia. And stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was in college, I would always do absentee for Georgia because I'm like, well, I have to cancel out my parents' votes. But this year,
Strategic.
yeah.
I
But
really
they
thought about it.
Oh yeah. But they came through Georgia, man. It was crazy because like when Trump first ran, like Atlanta's like, okay, we're turning purple. We're turning purple. But this year, like, wow, it was exciting. It's been really crazy watching like, all the stuff roll in. I don't know.
Yeah. Andy, thoughts?
I'm just glad all that voting is over.
You don't have to do that
So
ever
much
again.
voting.
Right?
Like, when are they going to put an
Once
end to all
is
this
enough.
voting?
It's overwhelming. It's like a sea of ballots. Just
What
everywhere.
happened to the Queen?
No shit.
That was much easier.
I want the monarchy back. I actually fucked up my ballot because I went in to do it.
Oh, so it was you.
And I was.
Did you vote for Kanye? Were you one of the 7,000 Minnesotans that voted for Kanye West?
He was on it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't right in.
Yeah, he was actually on the Minnesota ballot. But on the backside, it was all of these judges that you could vote for, and there were I think like 3 that had somebody opposing them.
If that, yeah, it was mostly incumbents.
And it's
Yeah.
like fucking A. So I was just going down the thing, and I didn't notice one of the things was like for write-in, and I accidentally put in 2 circles, and I was like, I was so close to being done.
Did you have to start over?
I had to start over.
Oh, did you remember your answers at least?
He wrote them on his hand.
Yeah, I hate that.
So what does incumbent mean?
It means
We can't talk about it.
Incumbent's the person who's already in office.
Okay.
and there's already in office.
I wrote in Bernie Sanders for soil and water management.
He'd be good at that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe he'll come to Minnesota. I'll force him to live here.
You live here now, Bernie.
Yeah,
This
sorry,
is
you
where
gotta
you belong.
manage my soil.
Soil, sand, Sanders.
That's exactly.
I wrote in one of my friends for one of the judges. So hopefully she wins.
I also hope that she wins. Sarah Jessica Parker, right?
Yeah, how did you know that?
I mean, she's your only friend, so Speaking of only friends,
You only have one friend, and it's Sarah Jessica Parker.
That would be pretty overwhelming.
Who are you, Matthew Broderick?
I just have one really, really kick-ass friend. That's all you need. If you have Sarah Jessica Parker, you don't need anyone.
could you imagine, like, if somebody was like, all right, you can either have all of the friends that you have right now, or
Yeah, you could be like Beavis and Butthead.
With Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
like you can either have all these friends or Andy, because you're what, 43?
I turned 37 on Monday.
So anyways, so you can either be friends with the little kid from Leave It to Beaver. What was his name?
Beaver.
That's how old you think I am? You have to use a Leave It to Beaver analogy?
But no, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, who would be a good, because somebody who, like, I think like a DJ would be a really good one, because you're at those shows and there's hundreds and thousands of people there at these shows. So it's like, yeah, I've got the one friend, but there's all these fucking people here. So
But you
like,
can't be friends with any of them.
right. You can party with them though.
But you have no connection.
Exactly. When they're like, hey, let's exchange numbers, you're going to be like, hey, Diplo is my
I
only
think you
friend.
just want to
Sorry.
be a roadie.
Yeah. I just want to suck dick.
That's
what
a
roadies-
groupie.
Oh. sorry. I
You can
want
only
to
be your friend's dick, though. You have to ignore everyone else.
Or before I do it, I'm like, this does not make us friends.
We are not
Yeah.
friends. You can only go to glory holes.
I like to think that you tried to apply to be a roadie and you thought the job was just sucking dick. Yeah. And you're like, no, you just have to fill out the application, dude.
Like, man, we want somebody to help carry these speakers. What the fuck are you talking about?
Your mouth is just,
I really want the job.
Lot lizard line is over there. So anyways,
Where were we?
where were we? Voting.
Oh, midget porn. So
Thank you. So problematic porn. Was that, I mean, but that's it. Who kept the tapes? Or the DVDs?
who kept it?
Yeah.
He did.
He did.
Yeah. For a long time. And then, had kids, so can't keep that around.
Right. Because they would think that they were other kids.
God. That's like 4 podcasts in a row.
Now, that was fun. Thank you guys for coming on. And we'll have a good night, everyone. No.
We drove to Monticello for that.
there was a gravel road, my dude.
Oh, you guys, you had to take the gravel road.
We took the gravel road.
So there's another road that you can take. So when you leave, don't go left, go right, and your GPS will be like, oh, I didn't realize you were fancy people. Fine, we can take normal roads.
Fancy blacktop people.
Whoa, hey now, it's problematic. You can't say top anymore. So, Rebecca,
Yes.
being that you're from Georgia, Russia, is it weird having people slander your people so much during all of these elections?
Well, I don't really think is slandering. I don't know. I think well, like most Georgia people I saw they were getting upset about is whenever Georgia's talked about on the news.
I was talking about the Russia thing.
Oh, well, Nostrovia. I don't know.
But no, with the Georgia thing, that is really interesting. I for some reason I thought you're from one of the Carolinas. I don't know why I thought.
Oh, that would be. I think I'd be way chiller if I was. From,
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like my mom's side of the family. They're all from Mobile, Alabama. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm talking real Mobile. Like my grandma had my aunt when she was 15. Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, we're talking Mobile, Alabama. And they kind of lived all in the South, kind of bopped around a little bit. And my dad is, his dad is from like Texas, like West Texas. The cowboys, just, they're quiet and they smoke and they eat Fig Newtons. That's all I really know.
Smoke and eat Fig Newtons.
It's a weird combination, but it does it for him. I don't know. I guess that keeps things going.
Sounds like a weird aunt. She, do you want something to drink? Just more Fig Newtons.
Make sure you have your 8 ounces of Fig Newtons a day.
Maybe you can help settle this this dialect then, because I do a Southern accent, and I'm not quite sure where to place him.
Okay.
So he likes to talk like this, and it gets real whistly, and boy, we just love ourselves some Fig Newtons and Virginia Slims.
What part of the South do you think that guy ends up in?
Well, that guy is definitely very old. He sounds like, the youngest that guy would be 40. It's just something like the whistling just kind of happens. I don't know. It's kind of just not knowing how to close your mouth type of a thing.
Yes.
And I don't know. I would say that could kind of be kind of in between Kentucky and the Carolinas, maybe.
Okay.
Almost, yeah.
Kentucky makes a lot of sense.
It definitely has kind of like a foothills sound to it, because when you almost sound more like country than Southern, you know, some Southerns like, oh, nice and slow, you speak like molasses, you know, like that. That's a little bit different.
That just made me lactate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have put a trigger warning on that.
I don't have my cotton
accent.
balls in place to catch the drip. So
Someone get this man some cotton balls.
So what would be the younger version of that voice?
that's a really good question.
And when does it switch over? Is it gradual?
I
Or
think that guy'd be like, oh, Paul, how come we gotta go work in the field? I said I'd be working till sundown. Oh, Paul, but my favorite episode of Pokemon gonna be on today. I don't guess which Pokemon this is. I don't give a hoot. You get back in the field.
Right? I don't know.
I don't think it's that one.
It's not the same.
Nope.
All right, let me try again.
Father,
That's what I want.
I want to stop working in the field.
You could animate all that and just turn it into a porn, by the way. It feels like, just with these fun character voices.
Yeah. So anyways, South voting. I'm all over the place. I apologize. A lot of ADD today.
Woo.
Let's get back to how this show normally runs. So now, when you do the stand-ups,
Yes.
right?
The stand-ups.
Andy's whatever, and we'll get to you. Also, did you start doing stand-up in Georgia then?
No, I started doing it when I moved back up to Minneapolis.
Okay.
I watched a lot of stand-up in Atlanta, though. Like, I was very fascinated by it. Atlanta comedy scene is really great, and they had a bunch of shows that would always be for free, but comics would fight to be on these shows.
Oh.
And also too, because of like the filming that happens in Georgia, a lot of comics would be there filming for movies, but they didn't have any friends, not even Sarah Jessica Parker. So at night they would just go and do spots, and then they end up bumping some local comics and stuff. But like Star Bar, which is no longer happening now because the club closed down, that was like the best place to do it. Like Hannibal Burgess was stopping. I saw TJ Miller there once swallow a cigarette. And then some other shows, like there's one called the Secret 1 a.m. show. This place called Smith's Old Bar. It's my favorite show in Atlanta. It's like every Saturday night. And the guy who runs it, he actually came up to Minneapolis not too long ago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so everyone like met him and stuff. And I went down when I was down for Thanksgiving and like went to his show and stuff. And he's like,
wow.
hey. So yeah, it's a cool scene. I really just kind of liked the art form of it because I grew up acting and did professional acting up here for a bit.
Okay.
But I got sick of being told what to do and had to say other people's words that weren't funny and make them funny. I don't know, because it was like, oh, this is a funny line. I'm like, is it? I mean, I'll make it funny, but just like, you suck at playwriting, dude. But I don't know. I just was just fascinated with it and how everyone is their own character, you know, and the best kind of comes from a place of being genuine, but it's like, how do you discover that within yourself and then present it on stage and then make people laugh with it? Like,
Yes.
I love just going to shows and just watching all these people just do it in their own ways. And I don't know, I wanted to try it and it stuck.
So, okay. How did you end up in Minnesota then?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I've been basically back and forth up here my whole life. Because
Okay.
I was born in Atlanta. My family's from the South. But when I was 2, my dad got a job up here. He worked for Coca-Cola. And as a 30-year-old, they're like, hey, want to like be the finance guy at the Midwest bottling plant? And my mom's like, where's Minnesota? So they moved up here. They absolutely fell in love with it. I got to the beginning of 4th grade and they were like, we're going back to Atlanta. And I was like, this is going to be a bad idea. And it was, because those Southern, and I went to Catholic private school, Southern Catholic prep school kids are just another breed of demons that I had to deal with all through high school. And then I came up to go to college at the U. So
okay.
went away from that and then went back for a little bit to live in Atlanta proper, but then I miss Minneapolis so much. I don't know. It's just,
Why the first time back to Georgia?
I don't know. It's kind of when I wanted to stop acting and just kind of figure out what I wanted to kind of do and stuff. So
No, when you were in I'm sorry, when you were in school?
Are you talking about when her parents moved back?
Yeah.
Move back to Atlanta.
Because you said you're here, they loved it, but then they were like, I don't love it so much.
My dad, they always said that if they got the opportunity with Coca-Cola to move back to Atlanta,
Okay.
they would take it. And they were like, okay, so Rebecca's in 4th grade. My younger brother Thomas was in 1st grade. They're like, if we're going to do it, we should rip off the Band-Aid now. Like, it still scarred me. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I had friends. It was great.
It's hard,
I
yeah.
loved it. And like, you know, they don't really think about stuff like that. And like, you know, it's tough being a parent.
Yeah.
Making those decisions. But yeah, so we were down there because my mom's parents were down there and it was just kind of more family.
Sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's okay. So having to adjust, like, do you find yourself adjusting your empathy, like from state to state? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because I find myself a little more aggressive when I'm in like New York versus when I'm in Minnesota. Like the people, I understand how to best navigate them here. And in New York, it's total chaos. Like it could be any which way. So I'm curious as to like in the South, do you have that same type of, like, do you find yourself adjusting a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was the funniest thing when I went with some of my friends to New Orleans who were from the Midwest. I went, you're going to see me acting a little bit different with people. I don't want this to catch you off guard, but it's just not going to be the way you normally see me, because it's like, you know, going to restaurants and telling like women that are older than me, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and like being polite and smiling a lot, because I do smile a lot. It's just my disposition. But the difference in the South is you're just polite to everyone. You don't know them. You smile, but you could hate their guts. But that's the way you act. And up here, it's, I mean, like, you know, you're enough, you know, polite-ish, but you're still like, there's kind of a bit more, I think, tribalism in Minneapolis, because it's kind of like the Midwest. It's cold. They're pioneers, right?
Yeah,
the only way these
yeah.
people survived were to have these communities and band together. And you're like, well, you're not part of my community, but okay, like, don't freeze, you know, like, we'll like help you out. So with people up here, it's like you they have to warm up to you first.
Yeah.
But once they warm up to you, they are loyal for life. Like, you have a best friend for life. There's nothing fake about it. In the South, there's a lot kind of more fake friendships, I would say.
That's super interesting. I absolutely agree. That's really interesting. I've never thought about it explaining it in the way, because I called it cliques.
Sure.
Like because we came from Oregon, and that was something that we totally threw us off. Because there was no real, like, everybody hung out. Didn't matter what you did. And when we came here to see, like, goth kids, jock kids, like, it felt like we were in, like, a bad movie. Like, playing up all these stereotypes.
Sure.
But that whole tribalism thing, that makes so much more sense the way you explained it. That's super interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about people a whole lot. Like, I don't know. It's just I'm very neurotic about it. I'm very perceptive of people's individuals, and then, like, it expands, and it's just a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I'm hypersensitive with people.
Okay. Let me back up here. So you go to Atlanta, or wait. So no, yeah, you guys go back to Atlanta, and then you came up here for college, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did the acting thing come in?
Yeah, so basically starting in 4th grade, just kind of figured out, like, I was good at it, and did it, like, all through high school. And then for college, I auditioned for colleges and stuff. I made it into NYU, but no one has that money to be a broke art. Like, I remember I toured the school anyway, and I remember asking the admissions lady, like, running the info session. I was like, yeah, is it a fixed tuition or does it go up each year? That's a fair question to ask, right? She goes, ha ha, you pay what we tell you. And I'm like, oh, okay. But so it's probably fine I didn't go to NYU. That's okay. But if that was just the intro into that. But then I auditioned for the BFA program at the U of M, and I got called back. So out of, like, 1,000 kids that auditioned, and yes, I call them kids because, you're 17.
Yeah.
They call 60 back. 60 back, and they have a callback weekend. And you stay with some people that are already in the program, which is already kind of weird. And like, you bunk with them, and then you go through, like, workshops during the day, and people kind of, like, watch you and observe you, and then you have, like, your second audition. And there was, oh my gosh, I'll tell this story on this. There was this workshop that was led by the junior class. They're like, the junior class just came back from London. I'm like, sweet, okay. And there were no teachers present.
Oh, I thought you were going to say no teeth left. Sorry.
Well, because they went to London. No teeth. But okay, we're in the studio room, right? And we all had to lay down, like, on our backs. It was kind of dark. And they let us do a chakra exercise. Yeah, you've heard the story. All right, so they start with, this is your heart chakra. Place your hand on your heart chakra. Rub it. This is the area that accepts love, gives love. Now move to your stomach chakra. This is where you keep your ego. This is where you keep your courage and any kind of, like, fear, something. Access that, touch that. How does that feel? Now move to your sexual chakra. These were 17-year-olds having to rub their genitalia, like, on the floor for juniors in college. And I was like, this is so weird. And so I just kind of put my hand. I was just like, a girl pushes my hand down and goes, participate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that happened. I did not make the BFA program. And I'm like, if this is what classical acting is, like, Dame Judi Dench, like, really knows how to go hard on her clit. Like, I don't. Yeah. Like, it was insane. And I was actually in a play at Park Square Theater later on with a guy who ended up being in the program. And I go, do you remember that? And he goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, I did it. I had to do it. And I was like, you fucking whore. Like,
Fuck you, chakra.
That's really good. I like the FU chakra.
FU chakra.
Dude, participate.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit. Have you done that on stage?
No, I told it to David Harris once, and he goes, "Oh, you should tell that in therapy." He's like, "Oh, that sounds bad, but it's also David Harris." Like, I don't know.
Did he give you the number to his therapist?
Oh, he's keeping that number all to himself. Oh yeah, not accepting any other clients. No way. No.
Wow, that is so wild.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So something happens, right? You end up doing acting.
I did it anyway. So I went to the U anyway because I fell in love with the school. I loved how it was like a campus, but then you're right in the city too. But it's not like, you're just like thrown into it. And it was my junior year, so I was 20, turning 21. And Theater La Tida, they partnered with the U of M to do Spring Awakening. That musical, it's kind of like this like, the music's really good. It's all like rock based, and it's based on this German play about kids kind of exploring their sexuality, or like kind of like the things that kind of go along with, there's like teen suicide. It's like a very like intense play.
Is it like the boy in the striped pajamas?
No, not that kind of German.
Oh.
No, and not like the German porn either. There were no
That was my next
aliens.
guess.
no aliens in this. But it was cool, and I auditioned, and I considered it to be an ultimatum to myself. I was like, if I make it in this show, then I'll continue to do it. If I don't, I'll just cut it out and just keep going the advertising route, which is what I was in school for.
Oh.
And I made it through. There were like 4 callbacks. There's one callback where we literally had to sing. We were all in the same room and sing like the same 16 bars. It's like, you go. And I mean, like, it was just intense, dancing, acting. And I ended up getting in there and being one of the 3 students who was actually not just in the ensemble, but an actual like character. Like, I had like my own song and stuff. And like, that was really cool. It was like really well attended. It won this play. It won an Ivy Award, which is a local theater award. Yeah. So we all got to like rush the stage, and we were all excited because it was the best overall performance or best overall show for the Twin Cities. They got rid of the Ivy Awards, I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like a part of that. And that just kind of catapulted me to do some more shows. So that was really fun.
Wow. Yeah. So I remember the first time I saw you on stage. I was like, oh, that's a theater kid for sure.
That's what I hear.
Like, you know how to project, making proper eye contact with everybody in the audience. Like, you're not like staring at your feet. Like, would you mind scooching your chair over just a smidge that way? Oh, yeah. So back to the acting thing. You win the Ivory Keys Award.
Ivory Tower Award.
When did you first hit an open mic?
Oh, that didn't happen for a while because, yeah, that was when I was still in college. I turned 21 on that show. So, like, you see some of these young people starting out doing comedy when they're like 20 or something. I was doing a whole other art form, and I didn't try it until I was 27.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, just like with theater and stuff, I don't know, just got a little disheartened from it. I ended up dating a castmate, and that just went like terribly, and just like the whole association was just like nauseating. And I kind of didn't want to do anything performative for many years.
Okay.
I worked at Surly for a while, and then when I moved back to Atlanta, I worked at Sweetwater Brewing. So I was like, well, I guess I work in the beer industry now. Okay. And then I eventually hated that, and then I was just kind of drawn to, coming back. Or people would tell me, they're like, oh, you should do stuff, and I'm like, but I don't want to. Like, there was just kind of like almost that kind of like depressive element to it, that I kind of wouldn't even like recognize or even like speak up to. But then when I was still in Atlanta, I was like, fine, let me try. So I was taking improv classes again at Dad's Garage, which is like the big like, improv down there. It's kind of like their huge theater.
That's I think that's right next to Doug's Boner Garage.
Ah, yes, Doug's. So many boners in that garage. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And like, I met one guy that also did stand up, and he was like in my classes, and I'd be like, oh yeah, so are you hitting up mics? Are you doing this? And like, he was like, yeah, I'm trying to. And I'm like, why am I encouraging him to do it? Like I should be doing this, but the Atlanta scene intimidated me just a smidge.
Oh,
because it's a lot more. I also knew 2 people who were already in it, so it's like, oh, I don't want to start with people already knowing me. Like, one I knew, I went to school with him when I was in 4th and 5th grade. I was just like, that's a little strange. So I don't know, when I decided to move back up to Minneapolis because I missed it, I was like, I'll start it. Yeah, and it's the best decision I've made. So
Where'd you go? Sorry.
what was it? Oh my gosh, the first mic I ever did, it no longer exists. It was that brewing, 5-6 Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did that. And then
Wasn't that called like Uncle Dan's Chuckle Fest
that's
or something?
exactly what it's called. Yeah, don't say it wasn't something like.
That
You know
was-
exactly
just
what
being
it was
coy.
called.
Yeah, like, was that like? And then this
Let me
absurdly
check
long
my
title.
flyer.
But yeah, and it was I don't know. I just really liked it, but also too Aaron Isaacs, who does comedy, I knew him from college. It helps to kind of know someone, because he was encouraging. He like kind of told me kind of what to expect, like what mics were kind of like versus other ones, people who ran I kind of got the cheat codes a little bit, and I don't know.
Was it easy the first time?
The first time, yeah, it was fun because it was an open mic. It was definitely jokes I'll never do again. It was definitely written in a way that it's because I used to kind of write. I'm like, okay, write 3 minutes of material, as opposed to like, okay, I can fit X amount of jokes within 3 minutes.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it went well. I don't know.
Because because you had that history like performing, so
Yeah,
I was wondering if that translated to getting on stage to do something else, like a different format.
Yeah, it definitely did. My biggest fear was just getting the mic out of the stand, moving the stand, because as a performer, you just use your voice and you have all these other technical elements to worry about, but they're also someone else's problem.
Yeah.
Like if your mic's not working, you're like, Rick, what the hell? I couldn't yell that. Like if I just mess up or like knock my face like with the mic. That was my main concern, because every mic you go to, the mic is literally different, and it's just like I didn't want to look like an idiot without even talking.
Yeah.
So that was my main concern.
Yeah, they might laugh at you. That's kind of fucked up.
Oh yeah, why would anyone want laughter? Yeah, the unintentional laughter. I don't know. People do well. People fall on stage and still move in contests. So like,
Yeah. Some people fall on stage and it's their whole bit, and then they get to go be on a radio station.
their whole thing.
That's their whole thing.
Hump a stool.
Yeah.
Sounds like more of a visual thing than a radio.
You'd think so. But they were like, hey, that falling shit works perfect for radio.
Just the crashing noise.
And then they just put the mic down where he's at. Anyways, so hits on you while you start doing open mics.
Oh no. No, see that's the messed up thing, because I remember like talking later with some comics and they're like, "Oh yeah, didn't you guys like?" I was like, "No, we were friends." Basically any guy I would just be associated with. And I'm like, that's not fair, and like super sexist and just awful. It's like, sorry, I'm a charismatic person that gets along with people, and also a comic that looks other people in the eye. I've been told apparently that's uncommon. I don't know, because like I have this thing where a lot of guys will just talk to me about their lives like I'm an unpaid unlicensed therapist to a lot of men. And one comic's like, well, yeah, because you're nice and you listen and you make eye contact. I'm just asking for it.
That's really funny. Mine was more like a stab at how just hits on people. So
he
Now this podcast is getting good.
I take shots sometimes.
you take shots.
Take some shots. Because when all of that stuff was going on, like with Mackenzie, how she shared that post
Sure.
about he who shall legally not be named anymore, there were comics that shared her post, and I was like, dude, you guys are, you're the thing that she's talking about. Red is you guys. Also, people have told me things about you guys that are sharing this fucking post. It's like, made me frustrated. And, I mean, I'd probably cut this. I mean, the whole, people assuming that you're dating somebody just because you're nice to them thing. When I was getting called out for defending these females last year, this radio station was like, "Oh, he's what's a married guy doing trying to fuck all these girls?" It's like, no, like people are being shitty to them, so I'm just doing what a normal human being should do. It's like, for some reason, when you invest in people even a little bit, there's this perceived ulterior motives if you're of the opposite sex. Just fucking insane.
You're wasting your time, bro.
Yeah.
It's
No
like
shit.
It's like an incel mindset, I think.
Yes.
Actually.
That's a really good point. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Mara's a recovered incel.
Recovered. I'm deep in that incel.
Deep in that life.
I've graduated to Volcel.
Anyway, so we'll cut back into the podcast. Any comic who feels like they're being called out in that last segment, just change. Just stop acting that way towards women and you won't feel so uncomfortable right now. And I'm tightening in on the face, pushing in, and scene. Okay. So
Great take. One take Chris is what they call you.
Yeah, it is what they call me. They also call me Chrissy Frump Dump
Oh,
because I have a frump and a dump.
there you go.
Now, you've been doing stand-up for a while now, and you guys have started to do, am I correct, in this virtual show?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like in two parts. So like when COVID first hit, comics started doing like social media stuff.
Yep.
So we did like an Instagram show. That was cool. Like it was nice because comics like doing it because we would co-host. It wasn't just like doing stand-up for one person's face, you know, and we actually laugh and want to have a good time. But now we're doing this virtual reality one with I don't know. Can he talk yet?
Yeah.
He talks better than I do. You can talk.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, and Andy is also a comic. He's also obviously someone's dad.
Someone's dad. Yeah, it's called REM 5 Laboratory. It's in St. Louis Park, the premier virtual reality company in Minnesota.
You want to pull that mic a little closer to you?
I'm not good with technology.
Well, because he's 43, apparently.
But yeah, it's cool. It's like the comedians perform at the location using the virtual reality equipment, so you can see the movements of their head and hands. So it works well for stand-up because you can walk around on stage, you can gesticulate. If you're interacting with the audience, you can look at whoever you're talking to.
Oh, wow.
You get to pick like the skin or avatar.
Yeah, you pick
Exactly.
an avatar.
Yeah. And so we mostly just made our avatars look like ourselves because I think just starting out, that's kind of the way to go because we're sort of trying to like simulate and make it as realistic as possible. But because it is virtual reality, anything's possible. You can make your avatar look like whatever you want. You can manifest objects into the virtual space.
Really?
They had a bong that we were just a virtual bong that with our virtual hands we could literally click the buttons on the controls to grasp the bong and pull it up and, pass it around.
Wow.
Yeah, and the comedy club space is really cool. It was like little like high top tables and like
Okay,
the space
I thought I
itself
saw-
is
yeah,
cool.
So I'd be really interested to see how that evolves as people are able to incorporate that technology into what they're doing
Into
as
the
a
bits.
performance.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
That is insane. So how did you guys think of that? Or whose idea was that?
Well, okay, so I get the Pioneer Press little like blurbs or whatever emailed to me every morning, and I was like reading kind of the arts part, and they're like, "Ooh, there's this art gallery thing in St. Paul. You should check it out." And we did, and that meant they put 4 pieces of art, on the windows, and we just looked at them, which was fun. But we're like, "Okay, Rice Street, what's up?" And the guys who were running it were like, "Hey, thanks for coming to the show. Thanks so much." They were like super like happy that anyone like came.
Well, they were on cocaine.
God, if they were.
There did seem to be a lot of cocaine sales going down on that part of Rice Street, I will say.
To be clear, but we mentioned, we're like, "Oh yeah, of course, so it's super cool," and like we're comedians, so we get it like any way to kind of do your art. And the guy, it was Brian, right? Who was there.
Brian was for sure the more vocal and outgoing of the two. I think I don't remember the other guy's name. Sorry, other guy.
But he's like, "Oh yeah, we wanted to do this virtual comedy thing. I run this virtual comedy like space, and we actually reached out to Acme about it." And I was like, "Yeah," I'm like, "Okay," but we were like, "Well, we'd like to check it out or whatever." So Andy handed him one of his 2,000 printed business cards that he has, and said like, "Yeah, email me, and we can kind of get something going and check it out." And he went to the space, and he was like, "This will work. It's really cool."
Because going into it, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't really know what he was talking about. And he sent me a link to sort of look at a sample virtual reality. They call it like their training space or whatever, where you walk around and there's different postings on the walls that sort of explain how to use the stuff. And that didn't really help me with figuring out what the show was going to be at all, because I saw like different pieces of artwork up on the walls and stuff, and so at this point I'm like, so am I just going to be like standing by a painting like doing jokes as people like walk around this art gallery or something? I don't know why it didn't even occur to me that we would actually just like have our own show and it would just be like a show but in virtual reality, but I don't know.
So how is it that people like check in or?
Does it use like someone like a server somewhere, because I know there's virtual chat rooms. I've seen those. Like, how do people get into the show?
They have a link.
Yeah, basically, I mean, our next one's going to be a ticketed event, so you'll need to purchase a ticket to have access to the link. But the first one we did was a free show where we just shared the link, and you click on the link. And I think you can also design an avatar as a remote audience member watching from home on your computer. But we didn't really tell people that, so the default is you just kind of show up as this like robot avatar, and then when you laugh your head kind of expands and contracts and like but a highlight of the show for me was when Rebecca was on stage and our drunken downstairs neighbor, who I gave the link to, was having a little trouble with the controls and like just kind of held down the forward moving button and ended up like right on stage, like right in Rebecca's face, and couldn't really figure out how to like back up or whatever. And so it was just like, and they didn't, and a lot of people didn't name themselves, so they're like these robot avatars with these weird names, like this one was like Crest Duck 123 or something like that. So it's just like we have no idea. Like I'm like, is this my grandma? Or like, who is this person who can't figure it out? And then I was like having a smoke out back at the apartment building. She's like, yeah, I saw the thing. It was really cool, and I was like, oh, really? Who were you? I was like, wait, were you Crest Duck? Like, yeah, that was
like,
me.
no, it was
like,
Chad
was you?
42069.
Oh, Chaz was for sure making an appearance. But it was funny because, yeah, as Andy said, like that happened. So I like sidestepped away from Crest Duck, and because it was really annoying because this one person, like, he was like whispering. He's like, oh. Watching this virtual show and everyone can hear it, and I'm like hearing it in my headphones, and I was powering through. I was being a professional, but then finally I was like, oh, okay, Duck, whatever, or yeah, Ducks, you gotta stop talking, man, you gotta. And then with Crest Duck, I was like, you were all in my space. If you were a man, you were man spreading all over my stage right now. You back up, Crest Duck, you crusty duck, you back up. So that was fun doing crowd work.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
once people get the avatars, you're gonna have some pretty unique crowd work.
And
like
my
literally,
mom-
like Fred Flintstone is gonna be in your audience.
And my mom
love
showed
that.
up at the show, and she was also having some issues. She showed up, whereas most people entered as an avatar, her character, or whatever you want to call it, was just a big, rectangle, like the camera on her phone. And it was a live video screen of my mom that was 90 degrees turned sideways for some reason on the back end of the stage. And it was the freakiest, most nightmarish thing to have my giant sideways mom right behind me while I'm trying to perform. But yeah, and then you can chat, so you can like chat heckle the comedians, which is very distracting, I realized.
Oh wait, so
Getting heckled, like seeing these little heckle messages from my mother while I'm performing is also
you can actually see
challenge.
it like visually.
I can see it in my screen in the goggles,
Okay.
as
Wow.
can everyone else watching.
So are you guys using like an Oculus, or do you have to go to this facility
It's
specifically?
called a Quest. We go to the facility and do it. But there were two people, both comics, who I can only assume are really into porn because they have their own VR equipment at home. And one of them's John Stark, who I just know is super into porn, so that makes perfect sense.
Sure.
And so we had an issue with one of the devices that the closing comic was going to use. So to stall, we actually brought John Stark up on stage, and so he also had all the same equipment and was able, and his character looked like ours with rotating head and hands and all that.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, anybody in the country who has VR equipment or access to it can perform, and you could do it from your computer too, but you wouldn't have hands and you wouldn't be able to move around as naturally just walking. You'd have to do it with the keyboard,
Wow. It's funny because it sounds like it sounds so futuristic, but the graphics that I saw, it's also like so. It's I hate to say retro, but we're almost to 2021.
Yeah, it looks like Nintendo 64 Mario pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like it's futuristic in one regard, and then like graphics is just so far behind in the.
Did you ever see Lawnmower Man? Oh, this is a deep cut. I'm sorry. I apologize. Continue.
Do you have VR equipment?
No, I don't.
Are you getting some?
No.
Oh.
I'm poor.
Fine.
Start paying me.
All right.
Pay me in VR equipment.
Mara sleeps on a tent on a floor.
In the
On a
tent.
Yeah,
tent.
on a tent on the floor.
Like Snoopy.
She
I'm
sounds
just
like she's
on
doing
top of
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, she doesn't weigh much.
Light as a feather.
I did say that wrong. I'm old. See, I make fun of you for being old, but I'm old.
I figured you would have been on board with the goddamn lawnmower. man bit.
Well, I didn't want to
'cause
say
we're the same
it, but I
age.
think I like turned that off. Like I couldn't get through it because I didn't like it.
Oh, it's a movie?
Yeah. It was about
You thought it was
virtue.
a guy?
Oh, there was a game.
Why?
Because we were talking about virtual.
Oh.
It was a,
Context was there.
it was
Why would she? Why would she
Let the
say? Have
record
you
show."
seen? Have you seen that game?
We say that all the time.
it was about virtual reality.
See, we're nerds. Oh. I actually might know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yep.
All this goofy stuff.
Oh.
Now I know what you're talking about. Okay.
There's like a character that ends up getting sucked into like a computer and being a crazy villain.
Yeah. Do you remember what the fuck was that movie where it was a Nintendo competition and you could win that one
The
glove?
Wizard.
Yeah. The Wizard. Was there VR?
1989. Yeah. The
Was
classic.
Fred Savage in that?
Yes, he
movie?
was.
He was in that. Because was it that his brother was autistic?
Yeah. And then Christian Slater was in it and Beau Bridges.
Oh, wow. Because they go see the dinosaur in California? California.
Yeah, he wants to go to California.
The only
'Cause that
part
was, like,
of
the
that
last-
movie I remember is like they get to the final contest or whatever, and it's like a game that he hasn't played before, and they're like freaking out, like it's not fair. He's never played that game before. They can't change the rules like that.
Yeah, it was Super Mario 3.
He doesn't know how to play Super.
And then he knows all the secrets in the game for some reason.
Oh shit, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think like there's like you have to like clip through a level. Like it doesn't make any sense to know intuitively, but he does it anyway.
That's awesome.
I'm going to have to rewatch that.
Yeah, me too.
I've
I
only
watched that movie
seen
in
it
1989 when I was 40.
I've seen it a million times, obviously. Tobey Maguire's in it.
Oh, really?
Little mullet having child. I think
Holy
he's like
shit.
I think he's like 10 or something.
Oh, wow. That is wild. It's so funny when movies like that, like, the fuck is that? Is it called The Outsiders? With Patrick Swayze and Rob Lowe. Like,
Tom Cruise with some messed up teeth.
yeah. Like, looking back on that, being like, those are huge fucking names to all be like, I mean, not necessarily nobodies, but like not well-known actors all in this one movie. It's so crazy when shit like that happens.
Look how adorable Tobey Maguire is.
Oh my gosh.
He's there for like 2 seconds. Like he's just a background character.
That is awesome.
So I know too much about the movie The Wizard, starring Fred Savage,
Hell yeah.
1989.
Speaking of knowing too much, being that you've been on this earth for so long,
I love that you're doing that because we're the same age.
you're 37?
36. Close enough.
Yeah, but
Well, and that's even older in woman years.
So I'm like getting, I'm getting like
Andrew.
co-roasted.
all right, fine.
I'm fine with it. It's just I'm
Well,
just letting you know.
I mean, with the zip up fleece, does it say Menards over there? What's
It says Patagonia, dick.
Is that
It is that
offensive?
color of forest green, though.
Is Menards like an offensive
I don't know.
clothing to wear?
I'm just being an asshole.
I would never be caught dead wearing Menards.
Wearing Menards.
Yeah, I would never pair any Menards wear with my black Crocs and white socks.
That is a Menard style for
is a
sure.
Menard
They would
style.
end cap everything with white socks and black Crocs.
Yeah, I'm the old guy. You're wearing Crocs and sweatpants.
True.
Absolutely. It's so true. I even fit like
I mean, I'm wearing khakis and loafers, but still, fuck off.
it all circles because there's paint stains on the shirt. That is the whole dad outfit. It's like on the weekends, Saturday rolls around, Crocs, white socks, a shirt that has paint on it for some reason, and sweatpants.
You should start doing the Southern guy voice all the time. You've reached that age
Yeah. I
spiritually,
think
at
that's
least.
very applicable. But it's funny when we first started dating, because when I first saw him perform, I didn't think I thought he was younger than he was.
I thought you were gonna say I didn't think he was funny.
Damn.
Listen, no, it's one of the reasons I first saw him go up at Bunny's open mic.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I was just a little stoned, but I was like, I think we'd get along. And I was right. So that's the moral of the story. But I remember after, we'd kind of been seeing each other for like just a little bit. We're in bed and he goes, how old are you? He didn't know. And I'm like, how old do you think I am? And he's like, oh. And he thought I was a little bit younger than I was.
Okay.
Did I say a number?
That's brave.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I probably gave you the stare I inherited from Kathy.
I think I just said, oh, I thought you were younger than that. I don't think I said like, oh, I thought you were like 19 or something.
It did the way that you posed. It sounded like he was like, "Oh fuck, did I just bang a minor? Hey, how old are you?"
No, he's banged much younger than me, so no, he knows.
Wait, are you saying
he knows? He knows I'm
minors?
not 19.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad.
Roasting everyone tonight.
All right,
I am a cop.
The charade is over. Chris Hansen, get in
21.
here.
21. She was 21.
Yes. So, anyways,
Any other personal questions you want her to?
So who do you buy your drugs from exactly? Name, last name, phone
Names.
height, weight, eye color for some reason.
I don't have a joke answer for that. I'm sorry. I can't answer it for real, and I don't have a joke, so I don't know what to say.
See, but you could have answered it for real as a joke, and nobody would have known. It's like that Hannibal Buress bit where he says Brittany Hansen or whatever the fuck.
Oh, and it's
He's like, I gotta stop using her real name.
Yeah. That's great.
So, you have been doing comedy for 8 years.
About 10.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, about 10.
Yes. Now you started in South Dakota, yes?
Nope.
No, damn it.
hot or cold?
Georgia. Was it in Georgia? Is that how you guys actually met?
North Dakota.
I started in Madison, and I moved to Minneapolis shortly after I started.
Okay. Were you going to school out in Wisconsin?
Not at the time, but I did go to school there.
Okay.
While I was still in school, I went to an open mic audition, which isn't really a thing, but
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, the Madison scene is really strong, but it's relatively young. So at that time, they didn't really know like how people did it in most places, and they kind of just did it their own way. And at that time, you had to go do a 5-minute audition for just the manager of the club in the audience and no one else. And he did not.
Did he make you touch your sexual chakra?
I was like, I want to be a groupie.
Let me suck your dick.
And like, yeah, I had to perform for this one guy who did not laugh at anything I said the whole time, and I think I bailed at about 2.5, and he was just like, well, you didn't pass the audition because you didn't fill your time, and I was like, oh, but like, if I would have, was it good enough for the time that I was
Just
up
take
there?
what I did and double it, please.
Yeah, it was just like,
Price is
basically
right.
like if I come back and do it and make it through the whole 5 minutes or whatever, but I'd never had the courage to go back and do it again. And then by the time I started, they didn't have the audition thing anymore, so you could just sign up and do it.
I mean, that's so weird.
So
Yeah.
that's
like,
so bizarre.
He watched one documentary about the Comedy Store and was like, I'm applying that to everything.
Well, I guess that's like how they do it on SNL, kind of, but it's more than one producer that you audition for.
Also, those are... This is like the concept of open mic is basically karaoke. That would, like, you know what I mean? Like, to have people audition for karaoke would be so fucking weird.
Yeah.
like the bar manager being like, "Okay, I want to hear you sing Jesus Take the Wheel." When does the bar open? It doesn't even open today. You're performing for me. That would be
But
weird
yeah,
as
I was
fuck.
working at Buffalo Wild Wings at the time, and they used to have these kind of little.
Were you
like-
cooking and you spilled some soda on your pants? And so you had to take your pants off. Mara, do you know where I'm going with
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this. I don't know why you're going here.
Sorry. So,
There's lore that you have to know.
yeah,
to
okay. So
listen
anyway,
to
so
the show now.
some raw chicken fell on your penis, and then you woke up the next morning, and then your penis was burning, and you think that you got salmonella on your dick. Did that happen?
No. What?
I'm unconvinced, but okay.
How do you know all that? But you thought I was from South Dakota.
No, it's this Reddit page called, what is it, Horny Police?
The horny police, yeah.
Yeah. And this guy was asking for help because he thought he got salmonella on his penis because some raw chicken.
Fell
Just
on it.
fell and
Oh,
happened to hit
That's funny.
his ding dong. He totally wasn't having sex with it.
So anyways, I'm sorry. You're working at Hooters and Adam Sandler walks in.
I feel like it's hard to recover from your introduction to the story.
I'm sorry. Beat ups.
There's way too much build up to the beat up story now. I can't. We gotta skip past that.
Okay. So anyways, you start when did you start like regularly hitting mics?
When I was, how old am I now? When I was 26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I guess it'd be like 10 and a half years now, almost.
Oh, wow.
Well, but actually, it wasn't really until I moved to Minneapolis because there's only so many mics you can do in Madison, and I wasn't funny, so I wasn't getting up every week. You know, I remember one week they only cut 2 people from the show, so like 27 signed up and 25 got on, and I was one of the 2 that they cut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's another thing that just doesn't happen. It's like just put 27 people on stage. We can't have the show go 6 minutes long. You know, we want to make these 2 people really feel like shit. And I think that was part of it. Was like I was getting really drunk before I was going on stage, and it was almost like we want to send these people a message like you're not doing it right. You know. But,
I feel like that's part of the fun of the open mic. Like,
Getting
you don't
drunk.
know what's going to happen on stage.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
Just let
yeah,
anyone
for
on there.
sure.
The Wisconsin scene sounds very unique.
Well, it's not a Wisconsin scene. It's the Madison scene, and then there's a little bit going on in Eau Claire. It sounds like one statewide
Okay.
group of individuals, but yeah, it's mostly centered around Madison. But then there's also a really good club, the Plus in Eau Claire. So
Well, and Madison has on-state comedy now, right?
comedy on stage.
Comedy on state.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it fucking backwards. Ding dong. I'm an absolute schnitzel.
On stage comedy. That's kind of cool. But yeah, that's a great club, and it was a really it was cool because there were a lot of comics who weren't really household names at the time but are now, like Doug Benson, Todd Barry, Mark Maron, and they all they wouldn't play that club now, but 10 years ago they did, because it was a good club that funny comics wanted to come to, you know, and you could hang out and shoot the shit with these guys at the bar after the show, and it's just you know, I don't think comics in Los Angeles have that opportunity to chill with you know, if you're just a new open micer, it's all very hierarchical. But when everybody in the entire scene can all just fit in the back of the room, you know, we watched all the shows for free. And then after the show, they're just sitting there trying to sell their merch or whatever. And so, you know, you can drink with them. And then, like, sometimes they want to go out to the bars and stuff because Madison's a really fun town to party in.
Yeah.
And you're right on State Street and their hotel's right there. And, yeah, and then I also got to meet touring Minneapolis comics that would work that club. And then they kind of told me, like, if you're really serious about this, you can't do it, you know, once every other week. Like, you got to come to a bigger scene where you can get on stage every night, you know? Because if you think about it, like, how can you get good at doing something if you practice 3 minutes every other week?
Yeah.
You know, like, you got to do it every day.
Yep.
And that's what sucks about COVID, because it's just like,
Yeah.
we're just, like, atrophying, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like, so with the show that Mara is usually on, Dude, Absolutely, Alex and I bring a premise at least once a week. So at least once a week, we're having to try and work that muscle.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's difficult to try and work these bits out. And then you have that, like, yeah, I could go out and there are some mics open. Like, I've done one set since all this stuff, or one mic since all this stuff started. And it was just it just felt like wrong. Like, so it was at the Keller, and, you know, watching them clean the mic down and people in masks, and then the more drunk the crowd got, the more, like, or the less that they started paying attention to when they were supposed to be wearing the mask and when they're not wearing the mask. And it's like, fuck, man, I don't know. I want to be doing this shit. And going into the winter months, like, we were just looking at the COVID map, giant spike since the snow fell. And it's just, so, like, not only is it weird to not be doing it, but when you do go to try to do it, it's like, something feels wrong about it.
Well, it's strange, and we just did our night of the Sisyphus contest.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, Andy moved on, yeah. Hey. But it's weird because back in the day, you did the Sisyphus contest, right? And, like, the funniest person in Minneapolis, the room would be packed.
Yes.
It's a free event. People would come week after week because what? You get a few beers, you go order some Jimmy John's. Like, it's the best night of entertainment you can
Comics
have on a Thursday.
Comics who aren't on the show that night show up to hang out because their friends are there. And
it's amazing. And then with COVID, it's like it's a ticketed event, and it's just a smaller crowd. And it's the whole thing with contests is it's like there's just this energy. And when it's like, it's just smaller and ticketed, it's just totally different. And it's just sad because it makes you remember how it used to be too.
Yes.
So you're like, not only is this not ideal, like I thank everyone that's still doing all these opportunities. Like I am so grateful for that. There's still showcases that, like, I get to be on. There's still mics I get to be on. I'm grateful for everything. But it's just like, it's hard to know what it used to be. And then having to exist in the environment that is. And then you have people watching and they're laughing. And sometimes, you know, some people really, really get them. But they know they're out in public. They know they're in a enclosed space. So they're tight.
Yeah. Yes.
They're tight. And I'm like, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
You know, and, like, I did this showcase last night. And one of the comics who always wears a mask, even on stage, goes like, should I take off my mask? And one girl's like, no. And the thing is, he did better than anyone else on that showcase. I think then they're watching us because we take our masks off. It's like, well, you have your mask off sitting there too. Like, you want us to protect you, but it's not the other way around. I don't know. There's a weird power dynamic going on between the audience and comedian right now during COVID. It's very strange. And again, I hyperanalyze people, but I hyperanalyze this. And it's just strange. It is strange doing live comedy right now.
Yeah.
It really is.
But the other interesting thing, though, is that the podcasting world is gaining more recognition, and there's more of that going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that have are started clearly because COVID started, and they're not as interesting to listen to, but
getting their sea legs, hopefully.
but yeah, for those of us that have been doing it like you guys, we were already doing it. It's like it feels very similar to watching a room fill up. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
before a show starts, when you see the listens that you get, and you're like, there's people, and there's a safety net, and like there's and it's 100% you're controlling the narrative too. On top of that, which is fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. Which leads me into my next topic.
Ooh.
Oh, great.
Do you need to take a Do you need to take a potty break?
I'm just kidding.
All right. So, anyways, you guys are living in sin.
Yes, we are.
No, I was gonna say, are you guys still doing the awful service?
Yeah. So, it is still going on. It's great.
Well, no, I meant like you're two. Are you two both still involved in it? Is what I meant to say.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Were you not?
I got in a fight with Joe Cocazello, and we both got kicked off the podcast for a while, basically.
Yeah. Joe's got some issues to work out for sure.
A real fight or like a virtual reality fight?
It just like started out as this like joking thing, and then it just kind of like escalated into this thing that was sort of like taking up too much space on the podcast, and then it became a thing where like he was getting like really out of control and belligerent, and then one of the guests sort of called him out on it, and he took it really personally, and it became this whole big thing, and then
Sounds like content to me.
it seemed like I mean, I thought it was entertaining, you know? I mean, it's certainly
Yeah.
like there's
Those
stuff about
clicks.
him that gets on my nerves, but it's also like you can play up the anger in a comedic way, and at the end of the day, if we're like still friends, you know, it's okay, but
It's like the Opie and Anthony lore. You guys know who Opie and Anthony are?
oh, I do.
So you know, like the was it the Sam and Jim show now, or the Jim Norton show?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So like it used to be Opie and Anthony, and they fought like crazy, and eventually the show stopped. But that whole like people wanting to hear more about that is why like part of the reason why like the Jim Norton show is doing so good now is all hearing about all of the I don't want to call it bickering because they were
it's
like
drama.
Drama. There we go.
It's like a soap opera of a bunch of angsty unlaid dudes is what it is, and people, it's interesting. But I don't
They're
know.
called incels now.
I know, I'm trying to be polite. It's a southern to me. I'm like unlaid, but
Yeah, that's the nice way of saying it.
but I don't know. Well, also too.
Sounds
I'm
like
gonna
a
get unlaid
curse.
tonight.
Like, I'm not a virgin. Unlaid. Oh no, I'm a virgin.
But I don't know, with the podcast, it was because, okay, so during COVID, we were kind of getting our sea legs and figuring out like how we would actually bring guests back on, because we wanted to make sure we were comfortable with Zoom and kind of had our rapport down in the in the digital space before we brought someone else in. So we had a lot of episodes that were just us, you know. So it was Matt Doima, Nate Smezroon, Jalen, the audio producer, and then Cocazello, myself, and then Andy came on because we were quarantining together, and it's like, yeah, bring Wags, he's great, he's awesome, that's great. And we did some episodes with a few comics where it was like all of us, but I don't know, but we had kind of running gags and stuff, which was fun. But I think what happened with the other third mic was when they would have other guests on, he would take over the show too much and not let the scheduled featured person shine, you know?
Or let Doima host his own show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that got to be...
Which, but I mean, You know.
Sometimes the host needs a little help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go on.
Anyways.
You got this.
What I'm trying to say is, like, I love the fact that there's like a team built on it now. Because when it was Matt and Nate, like, it felt just like any other podcast.
Sure. Yeah.
Like there was a lot of like redundancy to it. But now that there's so many different machines or cogs in the machine, it's so cool. Like, I love that. It feels like a production.
Yeah.
And which is really cool. And I promise not to shit on anymore for the rest of the episode. But when you pause for laughter,
You're doing the opposite of a compliment sandwich.
it doesn't
right now.
read very well on a podcast. And that'll be the end of that. Anyways, so so you get kicked off the show because
I stepped down.
you have anger issues. Which, by the way, I saw Ollie sent me that video where you play that therapist.
I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't
Can
even
I
seen
watch it before I leave? I couldn't view the link.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'll show it to you. But you're very funny. You did a
I'll
great
take
job.
your word for it. Thank you.
And so like that is okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to be talking about it, but anyways, very cool. Back to the podcast. Now, with the
Are you afraid someone's going to steal the idea of doing a TV show?
no, I just don't know if Ollie wants to be
Talking about
it. It's awesome though. I love how many comics he included into it. Like the gas station scene. Because I was watching it with Kim, and I was like, "Oh, that's so and so, and that's so and so, and that." It's just so like, I mean, I jerk off.
So there's a gas station scene.
spoiler.
I stroke Ollie's ego like once a month, and
He needs that.
I love that.
Where's the ego chakra?
The stomach, actually. That is where you keep your ego.
That sounds adorable. You just rubbing someone's tummy.
He's rubbing his belly. Rubbing Ollie's belly. Yes, you are.
But
that
yeah,
happen.
I love like how much he wants to include people. And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Sorry, I got derailed there just because of things. Like, are you finding things for Karen to do, or is Matt providing you stuff? Like,
He's providing the stuff. I sent him one that I want to do because, like I said, I used to work at Surly, and there was this absurd Yelp review. Like, this guy just got so insane. He was like, this place is about the beer, but you come in and there's screamo music, man, and it sucks. And you walk to the host stand and get confusing gestures, so just sit at the bar. Man, have regular food. Like, why do you have, like, ranch that has rosemary? Like, stop trying. Stop trying. And, like, it just goes on and on. Like, it's like the broiest, like, 34-year-old man complaint I've probably ever heard. And the thing is, upset older dudes just they scare me and delight me at the same time. Because when I worked at Surly, I was a host. I was on the patio, and this one guy comes up. He's like, "How long would it be for a table at 12?" And I'm like, "Well, you're kind of looking at like an hour and a half." He's like, "Okay, what about just 6?" And I was like, it'll be a little short. I was like, I try not to be condescending, but I like to treat people like adults. I'm like, oh, you see those picnic tables over there? He's like, yes. I'm like, that seats 12. So an entire table has to get up, with different parties in it for that to happen. So he's like, okay, well then 6 is half. So yeah, we'll do 6. So he walks away, and this other nice family comes up. They're like, oh, 6. And I told them the same time, and they're like, oh, we'll wait. That's fun. There's a beer garden. The guy comes back up. He's like, put the other 6 on, but to split us up. I was like, okay, fine. Or he said, put the other 6 on. And I'm like, well, there's another party between you. And he's like, fine, whatever. Because God hates me, an entire table got up. So this man thought he had this entire table. when it should have been just the 6 and the nice family. He lays on the table in front of our supervisor and manager and goes, "This is my table. This is my..." He wouldn't get off of the table. This grown man with a car, children, responsibilities, is laying on a table in Prospect Park acting like a child. Like, men scare me.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's insane.
This is my table. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
I feel like he says about
My table
every
is my
possession.
life.
Life is table.
Oh, wow. That's really funny. I mean, not funny. Funny, but not funny. Horrific.
No, Full Metal Jacket is a very serious film.
Yeah. I saw, well, they do that in fucking Jugheads. Did you see that movie?
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal. It's about
Oh, yeah, I love-
Jarheads?
Jarheads.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was... Yeah.
Oh, Jugheads is Archie, isn't it?
God, I love it when you say shit wrong.
But I can't tell if it's a bit. He says, like, Jughead.
Let's do the Archie crossover now. Gotta film that.
That's Jake Gyllenhaal plays Archie. That's what I was...
But I do like that movie, but I like Jake Gyllenhaal. So.
Yeah. I also like Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's great in Spider-Man.
Yeah. He was really good in
Just
Spider-Man.
kidding.
You didn't like him in Spider-Man?
No, that was Tobey Maguire.
Oh, I meant as Rey Mysterio.
Oh shit, he was actually in the Spider-Man.
See, I could tell what you were doing, and there was...
Oh my
Wait for this to
God.
unfold.
Nice.
So I have my thumb on the pulse of popular culture.
Is that how you take a pulse?
When we grew up, back in the long ago, in the before
You'd get a
times.
better read if you use your thumb.
Well, it was like, I don't know.
Where did you learn CPR?
Oh wait, no, that's how you pick a watermelon. I had them mixed up.
I got my thumb on the watermelon.
I had a stethoscope for the watermelon, and I was doing the thumb. All right.
Thumb on the rind.
God damn it, that's funny. Okay, well, I mean, okay. It's time for our favorite segment, Mara.
We're supposed to be quiet.
Oh, they're like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we open them up and I don't think we need to sniff these ones. Ice cream sandwiches are ice cream sandwiches.
I'm going to sniff mine.
Okay. So give it a sniff, see what it smells like. Because that's usually what we do with the snack.
This
Oh, wow.
have a nice, pleasant aroma.
Yeah.
You walk into an ice cream shop, it smells like this. I'm buying.
Yeah. Have you had these before, Mara? It's almost, yeah, I do smell that coconutty. It's very light. What do you think?
Smells lovely.
I'm ready to dive in. I love it.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Too bad they're like $20.
Fuck!
No, they're not. That's just vegan stuff is really expensive.
God damn,
Yes,
these are
it
really
is.
good. What are they called? So delicious.
Well, they're right on the money with
I'm
that.
kind of cocky. I don't know.
Yeah, not original, very inflated ego, but accurate.
So you could have one of these and a Coke?
That's about it. It's my entire diet.
Oh my god.
The co-op, but they have these at like normie grocery stores where no one has dreadlocks.
And there's no midgets.
Oh, we were at a Cub once. Do you remember that? And someone got like beaten up.
Oh, yeah.
So we just entered this Cub. It's the one like in the quarry, kind of like close to the U of M campus.
Okay.
We walk in, we're just in the produce section, and we hear this woman come on the intercom and just go,
If someone can help, please help. Anyone, please help.
Everyone stops dead in their tracks. All the shoppers. Apparently, someone was quarreling with a cashier, And I don't know, but then like heard like that plea, and this guy from the back of the deli department runs up to help, and then that guy slugs that like I don't know, what do you remember exactly what happened? Who hit
I
who?
don't remember exactly who happened. I just remember by the time we got up there, the cops were there and they were mopping up blood in the front entryway. And
Yeah.
I don't think I saw any of the blows
No.
exchanged.
Well, we were listening to the guys stocking the dairy section, and they were like retelling it. So I was like picking up eggs, like listening really close. And yeah.
And this was like just after lockdown, I think. When people... Or no, was it before then? I think it was before lockdown.
Yeah.
Just another day at Cub in Minneapolis.
Wow.
During their plea for help, were they like, in aisle 2?
Can we get a cleanup in aisle 2 of human blood?
Can I get a manager to register 5? That's the one I always hear.
Can I get a manager to register 7? Sorry, ma'am, I just don't have change for that $100 bill.
That's why you need to come back to Walmart.
That is why we need
Because
to.
I need those pages in my life.
I used to work at Walmart.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that.
You still work there?
Once again, the Mitch Hedberg, yeah.
You know, I just am gaining so much weight. And I know that now that I've eaten those ice cream sandwiches, I'm going to buy them again. I'm going to gain more weight.
It's non-dairy, so there's less calories.
Oh, okay.
That's true.
Did we eat all of them?
Did we eat all
Sorry,
of them?
what? Do we eat all of them? I'm sure they keep manufacturing them. They weren't that expensive. We ate half the box.
Okay, fuck. So I wasn't sure if I would bring this up or not. So maybe I cut it out, maybe I don't. You tell me. But when the stuff with He Who Shall Not Be Named like started coming out,
Yeah.
had you experienced any of the shit that like so many of these other women had experienced?
Yes.
Okay. Would you care to talk on that? Didn't think so. Anyways, back to you.
It's my story to tell.
Yes, it is, Andy. With him specifically, no. But also, and this is how I kind of like talk about how I started stand up and I already knew someone. I kind of knew what people were like, and I already had made friends, so I wasn't a lone person going into some of these spaces. Like, I could walk up to guys and be like, hey, like, what's up, man? Like, how you doing? And I don't know, but then again, he just may just have not wanted to harass me, and that's fine. I may just not have been his harassable type. I don't know. But, I mean, with that stuff... I don't know, because I mean that was like very obviously bad and blatant and very just not okay, but there's like other just like micro things that just kind of like happened just in my experience just as a woman and a white woman, like I can only speak from that angle.
Yeah.
Is just like kind of like the micro things, and just like it's like using power, and also too if guys are like creepy, it's I don't know, it's just kind of like weird, or like they pretend to be your friend, you know, or especially I remember like with one comic, it's like, you know, I thought like we were kind of chill. He asked me to get a drink one time and I did, and then we were getting a drink. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in like dating comics or anything. I just said that. And then like later on I was like, oh, do you want to hang out another time? He's like, oh no, like I'm busy. I don't know. So then I don't know. I think it's just a thing with men in general, but with comedy, it's strange because, like, when you're a woman starting out with comedy, you're like, fresh meat.
Yeah.
You know, and these are some guys that just, their only social interaction with women is in the comedy scene.
Oh, interesting.
If you really think about it. It's not even with jobs. You know, like a lot of them, it's not like a lot of these guys have a traditional job where they have to learn how to talk to Susan, you know, down the cubicle over and talk about her children and Weight Watchers. Like they don't know how. And
and there's structure in that environment
correct.
too.
Yeah.
Whereas in comedy, it's like a free for all. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting.
But also, like, if you work construction and your crew is all male, or if you work a line cook job and all your coworkers are male, you're not working in the professional corporate world. I remember working in a kitchen, you know, it's like, I hate to use the word locker room because I don't want to evoke the Trump locker room talk thing, but it was all guys. You're not within earshot of the customers, and so you can, and you know, we all hung out after work. A lot of us were roommates and stuff. We were, you know, a tight group, so of course we're gonna talk about inappropriate shit.
Yeah,
you know, but. Yeah, it's weird because that now, like, sexual harassment policy is making its way into those industries, you know, but it's sort of lagging, and there's still huge problems with that kind of shit. And then with comedy, there's no structure at all. There's no HR, there's no grievance process, you know.
And what's hard is, especially with the he who shall not be named, and like the screenshots of the person who came forward talking to another comic about what was going on. People would see that and didn't know exactly who that comic was for a while because we went, that could be so many guys. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that they don't see what's wrong. And that's really disheartening. And I mean, like, I posted a status like when this like came out about it because I felt like I should say something. I didn't want to be totally silent about it. And it was just something about, like, you know, just like with some of these men and just being so dense. I'm like, it's so disheartening because how can I possibly teach a grown man to behave differently? I can't do that. We can't do that. Like, this stems from something that needs to be treated and helped. And that's why I said something about, like, dude, the thing is, if you have anything going on that gets away with your relationships, gets in the way of your professional work, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. And for this individual, this is a problem that affected his work. He lost his room. He lost shows. It affected his relationships with people. So it's like, and then he made this big thing like, oh, I'm going to go get how. I was like, okay, good. But then he started doing an open mic again and stuff, like running an open mic. And I don't know, just.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, like, I've always been like hypersensitive to that type of shit growing up, but I just didn't realize it was still so bad until I started doing hitting these open mics. And then when we started to have female comics coming on here after we would wrap up, they for some reason would just spill out all of this horrible shit that was going on. And so I became like very frantic, and I have codependency issues too. So like that feeling like I have to be the one that rights these injustices. No, so sure. Like I've gone against these, like I have the stance that, like, the same thing that I do with my kids, where if they come home crying because so-and-so did this, I say, okay, is that everything? And it's like, you didn't do anything wrong. This is what dad is here for. Like, if that's what really happened, then I will go and have that conversation with them. So, like, I did the same thing with these comics, and it's like, it broke my heart for them to go, you can't say anything. You can't do anything. They're, especially towards him, like, multiple comics. Like, the stuff that he got in trouble for was what he got caught doing.
Correct.
It does not speak to the horrific shit that he is accused of doing for the people that haven't come forward. And so the whole thing is so frustrating and was like maddening to me to like, it can't be this cancel culture. Oh, I'm a victim of cancel culture. Most of these people who like do these things, it's not just that. That's just the surface. Like there's gonna be so much more shit. And I think that's why like this whole crying wolf about cancel culture thing is really happening, because I think on the inside they're panicking like, oh man, if they find out about the other shit, then I'm really fucked.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I feel bad. Well, like some male comics, like they'll like they say nothing or do anything wrong, but like, oh, did I cross a line or something? Because like they almost feel like because I'm a woman, like I'm a tape recorder or something, and I'm like, you guys, like we're fine. And like there's, I mean, to say male comics just sounds like sadly redundant, but you know, like there's great guys, and like I love so many people in this scene and stuff, and like some people who I really look up to and like run rooms and like, you know, have like really helped me and stuff. And but also just another like element to it, it's like you kind of, yeah, it's like the not calling each other out. But then also too, it's like some people are like, oh well, yeah, we have to look out for our female comics, but it's like, it's almost like saying, oh yeah, no one touches my sister, but then you go and treat other women differently. It's like, okay, it's not just female comics, it's how you treat every woman. And then past that, because these are mostly straight white males, how you, basically anyone who is other than yourself, because you only know how to kind of associate with people that are like you. So anyone that is different, it involves effort, and guys don't like effort. So I don't know, just knowing just how to treat people better and stuff, and also just kind of call things out. And I don't know, but with the harassment stuff that's going on, that's just not.
I have I would say former friend now that I used to play disc golf with, who I sent him this screenshot of the inappropriate text messages, and he was like, oh, that's it? I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Like, I don't see, like, he didn't see anything wrong with it even after seeing the conversation. Like, and it's just this willingness to defend your friends no matter what they do.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the fuck was I going to say? Oh, that whole, like, that fear of, I don't even know how to talk to girls now.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that bullshit.
I hate that.
Well, there was this one guy at this open mic, and this was at Uproar, voted the best open mic in the Twin Cities from the now deceased city pages. So basically, anyone at Uproar can perform as long as you're not a cishet white male. So I mean, the thing is, there's still guys that can perform. They just can't be, you know, white. You know, so you still get some male perspective or stuff on stage. And this one guy, he was like, oh yeah, so I was leaving like Acme one time, and I don't know, I saw this girl and I thought she was cute, and I was like, hey, let me walk you to your car. So I followed her to her car and then was like, hey, can I take you out sometime? And she said no. And I'm like, what the hell? What do I have to do to get laid? I'm like, why? If you think that, what?
This is a bit?
Yeah. I had to leave the room. Like, it was just so bad on so many reasons. Just so many levels. And I don't know. And then I found out he's like a young dad too. I'm like, oh, you have a kid. This is fucked up.
I mean, to mention Acme at Uproar, for one. Let's start there. Is this guy done stand up before?
He was pretty new. He doesn't really get out too much. It's not like he's like produced any shows or anything like that. Like he kind of pops in and out here or there, but yeah, very much recreationally.
Okay. I was gonna say there's like that just sounded so weird.
Well, it was so weird, and like, I mean, I talked to Dave Vaughn about. I was just like, that's not cool. I don't know. And like he said, like, yeah, like they all agreed and stuff, and like Maddie, like they took the stage after and was like, we don't like, what was that?
Yeah.
And like, and that was only a little bit of a 5-minute set
Right.
of things kept like going wrong. And I'm like, you're doing this on stage in front of people, in front of like the most liberal, progressive, like audience you can possibly have in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So I
That
don't
almost
know.
sounds intentional. Like they were doing that on purpose.
But like he did it. This is a very charismatic man, might I add. Like very good looking, dresses very nicely, and I don't know. I think he kind of got away with it a little bit.
Sounds
But
like he has weak game though.
Yeah.
I know his game does sound a little off, but the thing is, that's the thing what I've noticed with some male comics is for women it's like a lose-lose battle. If you're too attractive, it's one thing. But then it's like, but then it's almost like you have to have some kind of fault for us to laugh at you, or I don't know. You have to kind of clown yourself in the way of your appearance in a certain way. But guys, man, if you're just like the carefree, good-looking, funny guy, girls can be like, ha, 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 and not even listening to what you're saying. But it's like, he's just so charming on stage. It's like, did you hear what he said about his ex-girlfriend's bathroom? Like, did you? They can get away with a lot. If good-looking young guys in comedy can get away with a lot.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird to try and look at stand up now, like from the lens of the audience. Like there's certain rules or like guidelines that play in my head, but for the most part, I don't really see it from the audience viewpoint anymore.
It's like putting on VR goggles, like to bring it all back. But that's what it is. Cause I was talking with some comics last night at CCU because we did a showcase and like the crowd was cool for part, but then we all lost them like halfway through. And we're like, what happened? So we're like, okay, let's figure it out. But you do have to like go in the perspective of an audience member. And sometimes it's as basic as like, what do I look like on stage? What, like, it's like, what are these people perceiving? What I like to say is, okay, so you see like some road hacks, right? All fat jokes. They're bigger guys, probably like maybe like almost 40. People like them because young girls go like, oh, that looks like my dad or my teacher. Guys go, I like him. It looks like a guy that's on my bowling league. And women are like, it looks like my husband that I have to fuck. That's hilarious. And it appeals to kind of that broad thing.
Yeah. The same people that watch Impractical Jokers.
That's exactly it. But there's something that is a little relatable to everyone is in that old, fat, middle-aged white guy.
I get what you're saying.
There's you identify that man is somewhere in your life somehow. But you know, like a 23-year-old like young woman doing stand up. It's like people are just like sex. Like that's the only thing they associate with that person.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, you're young enough to be my daughter. Why do you have opinions? And I don't know. So it's like, that archetype of the overweight, white, older man works because he's relatable to everyone and he's in everyone's home.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And they're not, like, they don't realize how unoriginal the material is because, like, it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who doesn't watch stand-up comedy every night. And like when you see a hacky road comic, that audience doesn't realize that that's not the first time that somebody's told that joke, you know, and so they think it's just as funny as the first time. But you know, you kind of doing comedy long enough, you kind of hear the same jokes over and over again, you know, and it's just
What would you say was the turning point for you? Like, when did you feel like you actually figured out writing and were like proud to do this shit on stage?
I think I've always been able to write, but it was more the like stage presence and getting comfortable on stage, and then being able to improvise and be myself and be the same person that makes my friends laugh spontaneously in real life, trying to like recapture that on stage. And that took me years to develop. I think like I've always kind of like been able to kind of do the joke structure and like, find a way to have a misdirection or something like that, and kind of like cut the fat out of a joke and like, do transitions and callbacks and all that shit. But like just being really loose and just, I had such bad stage fright for so long, and that works in your favor and it works against you, and a lot, and it would depend on the gig or who was in the audience. I'd get really nervous for open mics if there was some comedian who I like idolized in the audience, because I would want them to think I was funny or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I don't know like if I could pinpoint an exact time when it's like, okay, that's when it happened, but I will say that maybe a year and a half into doing comedy, I quit drinking and I started working at Brave New Workshop and taking improv classes. And the improv and the sobriety, and people would say that like you can use what you learn in improv to help stay sober, just kind of applying that yes and attitude toward your life. Like a lot of people kind of use improv skills to maintain sobriety, but that was the real turning point for my career, where people noticed a change in my stage presence. Like, oh, this guy is a lot sharper on his delivery when he's not slurring and stumbling around. But also with the sobriety, the stage fright thing became more of an issue too, because I couldn't drink to take the edge off, so it was kind of like it was kind of like starting over again.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I didn't know you were sober.
Yeah, well, from alcohol. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so like sobriety to me is whatever was making your life unmanageable. And so if
right.
So like if drinking was that thing to you, then that's
right. Like a sex addict can drink and be like, I'm sober, because it's not what they're talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah. But the first, so I don't know, must have been like a month ago now that I did the Keller mic, and that was the first time I had done stand up sober, maybe ever, and it was also the first real time that I wasn't leaning on, like, how like when you're testing out new material and you have your phone or your notes set on the table where your drink is, and you kind of make it look like you're going to get a drink, but you're looking at a note real quick, and then it might not be the full joke written out there, but like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I leaned on that way too much, even though I knew my material. And I like before going on stage, I was like, I know it. I don't need to keep looking at my fucking phone. This is insane. And so it was a weird like roller coaster of emotions of being like, where could I be at if I had gotten sober sooner and like wasn't relying on this bullshit that I definitely didn't need. And then
also having to rebuild that reputation.
Yeah.
And try to not be known as the drunken fuck up open micer comedian,
Yep. Yeah, and
one of them.
I didn't even realize like that I like had that persona, and not that people like were super negative about it, but like there was just everybody had one example of me like not being able to drive home, or like just being, and like now that I know I have like hypomania, like being manic on stage and like just saying all kinds of weird shit, and people like not being sure if I was going to make it home or not because it was just so fucking off the wall, and drinking on top of it. Like, So everybody had some kind of example of that, and I had no idea that I was perceived that way at all. So yeah, like I get that too. Like it's all weird. But the funny thing, so I had that like realization where I was like, yeah, all right, I fucking know it. Got the shakes, dry mouth, and so like the anxiety was still there, but I knew my material at least. That's interesting, man. I mean, this whole thing is so weird. I love being able to talk shop, and like this is what I miss the most about the open mic scene is like the hang afterwards was my favorite part, like going over bits and stuff like that. And I'm lucky that we have this podcast where we can still do that to some extent. And thank you for letting me fuck with you, by the way, so much throughout the episode.
I never really consented to that. It just kind of happened.
You guys both did improv though?
Yeah.
I do this very often to people who have not done improv. I've never been able to do it people who actually know the improv. But I do something called directional improv, where I set up a scene and then you guys go for it. What do you think, Murrah?
I'm incapable.
No. You don't have to do anything.
Thank God.
Unless you want to help me figure out a scene for them.
Sounds lovely then.
Okay.
So you're doing improv, but you write a script and then you say the lines
and word for word,
script.
and we get the best take.
So
anybody want to read these improv jokes I wrote?
Like for Grant and Ryan, I set up a scene where Ryan was the intake officer at a jail, and Grant was being admitted into this jail, and I said, so Grant or Ryan, you're going to be pulling things out of Grant's pockets and like taking them, into inventory or whatever the fuck, and then you have to. So they had to improv the shit that was coming out of Grant's pockets, and then Grant would have to explain it.
Ah, yeah.
And all that fun stuff.
Can we do that one?
No, I can't. I'm having a mental block.
This is your thing.
It is my thing. It's usually my thing. Okay.
I thought you wrote something down.
Yeah, I thought I did too.
I listened to the show.
I don't have my phone.
This is shocking behind the scenes.
Oh, you thought like everyone? No.
Yeah.
I normally make it up.
Oh.
Like Ryan Call quitting comedy, and he has to go to the dean of this college and tell him the reasons why he's
Don't tell the
quit comedy.
old ones. You gotta tell a new one.
I'm hoping that it
a
like
highlight
jars
reel.
my memory to get something better.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You work. There we go. All right, got it.
All right, I work.
Is that a stretch?
You work at an ice cream shop, and there are a plethora of flavors available. I would like you to be customer, and you're going to ask for samples of flavors, and you're
And
that's
hilarity will ensue.
and hilarity
Question
will
mark,
ensue.
question mark. Profit.
Yeah, can I have a sample?
Yes, you may. I'm helping someone right now, but when I'm done helping them, you can have a sample.
Okay, I'll wait.
There's gonna be so many calories.
You ordered the chocolate chip cookie dough 6 scooper. Yes, it's a lot of calories.
I'm just talking. I'm just
Here
trying
you
to
go.
do the Weight Watchers math.
That'll be $1. Next. Can I help you?
Hi. Kevin.
It's Kayvon.
Kayvon, can I have a... We're already at another...
Double raspberry sorbet. Double raspberry sorbet.
I think you're seeing people, and there is no one else in this ice cream shop, sir.
Is sorbet ice cream?
Okay. I'm going to ask again, Kayvon. Can I have a sample?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I'd like to sample the bananas and cream funfetti.
I'm not doing samples for that. It's by the bottle only.
Do you think there could be an exception?
I mean, I guess I could open one of the bottles, but then you'd have to pay for it. Do you want to pay for the sample?
Well, that negates the whole purpose of a sample.
All right. 1 double bonbon confetti bottle.
Thank you.
Do you like it? It
Yeah.
really percolates.
Here, listen, okay, I'm trying to get the perfect ice cream for my grandpa's funeral, and you're just fucking around giving ice cream scoops to no one. I'm just trying to find the best thing.
Well, how did your grandpa die?
Diabetes, duh, that's why I'm here. Is that a question? It was a question.
Well, we do have a bereavement discount. You can get a 5% off of our vegan ice cream sandwiches with the death certificate.
With the deaths, you're just trying to pawn off your vegan ice cream that you can't push at your little dairy prince over here.
Dairy Prince is the 3rd largest dairy themed ice cream chain in this part of upper western middle Wisconsin.
Kayvon, you seem so proud to be a part of the Dairy Prince family. Like,
Well, I am a direct descendant of the lineage. My grandpa Davon and his father Mavon Dairy. Yeah, it's a family name. It's all non-dairy ice cream.
you have a family rhyming first name. You have to keep the rhyme going.
No, I don't. My dad's name is Bill. It's not everyone in the family.
So it skips a generation. I understand.
No, it's my grandpa's. My great-grandpa's Mavon, so it's 2 generations in a row, and then it skips a generation, and then it's 2 generations, and then it skips 2 generations, and then so my great-great-great-great-grandmother was Pam. It's not on the female side. It's only the men that have the rhyming. But anyways, we also have vanilla is on sale.
Okay, well then vanilla it is. I guess my grandpa would love a big heaping scoop. Do that big scooping thing you were doing again. Yeah, do that. Yeah, keep that going. Dig deeper. Put your muscle in it. Come on. Oh,
All right, here you go. 1 funeral funfetti, double cocoa.
yeah, a funfetti funeral. I see the alliteration, but I do know that if I tip you, you have to sing the Dairy Prince song. So here's $20, motherfucker. Go for it.
All right, but only if you drop a beat. Yo, I'm the Dairy Prince. I do this so much it makes my arm wince. This song is better than Prince.
You're
Bitches.
You're as white as pins. Come on, there's more things I read.
I'm as white as pants. Who wants to dance?
And see.
This is not a scene. You're in an ice cream shop, so I don't know why you just said scene while you're trying to buy ice cream.
Oh my god. That sounds like a nightmare, an improv scene that you can never leave. Like, I wiped the scene. I wiped it.
But you
it's
can't
done.
move. You're running across.
Yeah, so you can't properly
Can't move
wipe
your
it.
legs.
That was absurd. Sorbet's not ice cream.
Yeah, that's
Took me right out.
Oh man, I feel hot now. That improv made me feel flop sweat hot.
it's a Patagonia, baby.
Oh, nice. You know, I forgot I was going to say this before. Alex and I were talking the other day about how like the best descriptor of you is you should be an SNL character.
You
Like-
should be an SNL
Oh,
character.
sorry.
Like Target lady.
Sorry.
Do you think I'm a cheerleader for chess? Is that what you think? Bobby Fischer. Right?
This is the podcast where I say things wrong. I apologize. Take two. So Alex and I were saying the other day, SNL cast member. My apologies. Why are you not in a place like Chicago or New York? What keeps you here?
I don't know. I may not stay. It's just I'm definitely here because like I went back to Atlanta for a bit, like when I didn't want to do anything performative, and my family was there. I was just kind of figuring stuff out, and then I realized I wanted to move back to Minneapolis because that's what made me happiest, the area that I liked the most. So it's me just kind of like, you know, just being like happy with myself and then happy with performing again, because before I did not want to perform in the slightest. Like the closest it would just be was like making my coworkers laugh and friends laugh and family laugh. And that's just kind of all that it was. But yeah, also too, we've talked about this a fair share. The improv world, you have to rely on other people to help not make you funny. That's not what it is, but to actually make a good product.
Yep.
You know? And with stand-up, I mean, granted, you know, it's very bare bones. It's very like whatever, but it's just you doing it. You are the responsibility. And if you have to bomb, you bomb, but it's all on you. It's your show. Whereas with improv, you had to get people together. You have to have a chemistry. They all have to show up for the show. They all like, it's kind of this big thing. So when you're kind of like almost how I would say like at a feature level for like a stand-up, at a feature level for like improv, like you're like kind of like a house mainstay on like a big thing. I don't know. It's hard to stand out. And also too, I don't know. I think if I knew that I was funny earlier in life, I think my path would have been different. But I didn't necessarily know I was funny.
Gotcha.
I knew I grew up like doing theater and doing all this stuff and getting the laughs always, but I didn't know that I was funny.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I found that out just too late. Like if I had known that in my like early 20s, like that's a whole different story. And also I was never the one to seek the attention. I'd be the one like to tell my friend the joke. You know, maybe they'd say it to someone else. I'm not like, oh, I'm telling the joke.
I had a friend who would like repeat my joke. So we'd be sitting there at lunch and I would make a joke to him. And then rather than being like, hey, everybody, Andy just made a funny joke, he would just repeat it louder and then so that everybody at the table heard it. But because he was like popular and cool, he like had more confidence. So he would just say it louder and get my laugh. He did that all the time. Matt Moore,
you sick fuck. I'm gonna
Well,
find
to
you.
be fair, why are you friends with a parrot?
It's a bird.
Is this my camera?
I thought you were gonna say Mencia.
Oh, that would have been good.
oh yeah.
Yeah, if you would have said Ned, whatever the fuck his real name is. Ned Hansen, because he's like
It's
half German.
Yeah, that's some old stuff.
Do you know the lore?
Well, I knew the Mancia thing. I don't know this Ned that you speak of.
That's his real name.
Oh my.
Oh, it is?
sweet-
Yeah.
Oh my sweet God! What? Oh,
That's funny.
that
You
just
guys-
makes
you didn't
sense.
know that?
No.
No,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
no, I don't do any deep dives.
See, I'm a huge comedy nerd. Like, have you watched any of the Comedy Store documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I haven't.
Ned
I
Arnell.
was thinking of a
Ned Arnell.
Did you know Carrot Top? That's not his real name either.
Get the fuck out of here.
His real name is Larry the Cable Guy.
That makes so much sense.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, fuck. You pulling a fast one on me like that. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, So, I don't know. Do you want to?
What?
Oh, you guys are still here. Okay. Tell me all of the things. What are all of your socials? What's your social security number? Your social standing?
Oh Lord. Mixed reviews, mixed bag.
No, but yeah, plug all of the things, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm definitely an Instagrammer. So it's Rebecca.Rolera.Wilson. So follow me on there. And then follow the Awful Service Podcast on Awful Service Pod on Instagram.
I'm at Andy Wegleitner on Instagram. AndrewWegleitner.com is my website. That's the best way to find information about upcoming shows. I've got videos on there, some really terrific photographs. You can read my bio. And yeah, it's really cool. You just type the website into your browser and then hit enter.
Yeah.
And then it'll pop right up. But yeah, I mean, keep an eye out for REM 5 Laboratories. We're going to be doing our next ticketed event comedy show through them.
Do you have a date on that yet?
We don't have a date, so yeah, just stay tuned. But yeah, if you follow us on social, you will find out about that as well.
Absolutely. Well, we'll break that as soon as it's official. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Awesome. Very exciting stuff. Well, the last thing that we do on this show is our listeners are called ducklings. So we say, au revoir, little ducklings, quack, quack.
Au revoir, little ducklings, quack, quack.
Au revoir, little ducklings. Quack, quack.
Au revoir, little ducklings, quack, quack.
Good job.